California voters approved Prop 50 last November, redrawing the state's congressional map to favor Democrats. Well, here in San Diego, the biggest change was to the 48th district, currently held by Republican Congressman Darrell Issa. KPBS and our partners at inewsource created a new online tool to see how these maps changed and what voting patterns shifted in the past few elections. And to talk about the project, I'm joined by Public Matters reporter Jake Otta. Welcome, Jake.
Thank you for having me.
So what is the local impact of Prop 50? Has it changed much in San Diego?
Well, yeah, so all of the districts here, we have 5 congressional districts, and they all got reshaped to cover sort of different areas of San Diego. But the biggest impact was to that 48th district in North County. And these maps that we have online show you how all the lines change. You can click on your district and see if it changed, see where you live, and see how those things have changed. But up in the North County, where District 48 is changing, it has really been a Republican stronghold for a long time. It's been held by a Republican in Congress for several cycles. And now with Prop 50, it's changed the balance of voter registration in that district to where previously there were more registered Republicans in 48th. Now there's more registered Democrats. And that's really putting the district in play ahead of this midterm election.
Well, what we do know is that not everyone is happy with the result. So let's hear a clip from the executive director of the San Diego Young Republicans.
Prop 50 may have been well-intentioned by the left, right? But here in Fallbrook, the result is really just confusion, fragmentation, and a loss of identity. It's really, really sad for this community, and we're one that suffers because of Prop 50. At the end of the day, we need representation that understands rural needs.
So what about the Republican voters? Do they feel like they're losing representation?
Well, the first thing to remember is that this whole map change started when Texas Republicans redrew their map to try and favor Republicans. And California Governor Newsom, the state legislature, they were very clear about Prop 50 here being a response to that in Texas. They say they're trying to level the playing field. But at the same time, in those districts, someone still has to win that race. The race isn't decided, there's no predetermined winner, and a Republican can still go out and win that race if they have a good campaign, if they connect with voters, if they do the things that currently Democrats and Republican parties are trying to do to reach voters in this area. And at the end of the day, someone has to win and someone has to lose. That's the way our electoral system works. And it's kind of a shame that a lot of people see representatives as only representing their team instead of representing the whole district and all the people within it.
Yeah. Well, you worked with our partners at inewsource on this. So what can they tell us about the voting patterns and how they've changed in certain places?
So we have another map that you can look at that shows how voting patterns have changed between 3 recent elections in California. So the 2021 recall election, 2024 presidential election, and then now the 2025 Prop 50 election. And what inewsource found was in Chula Vista and the South Bay, there was actually a pretty strong swing towards Trump and towards Republicans in the 2024 election compared to previous. San Diego at large is kind of known as being democratically favored or leaning, and in 2024 there were some places that really went not completely towards Trump, but swung a lot more towards the Republican side than maybe people would have expected. But then you can see on the map that changes and goes right back in the 2025 Prop 50 vote, and that area pretty strongly supported yes on Prop 50, which was seen as a referendum on President Trump and his administration. And so that map shows that not only are voting patterns pretty unpredictable, you can't always tell which area is going to go which way, but also it shows that there's been a response to some of the things the administration has been doing, and there's been people who are saying we're going to vote and use our voices to make our voices heard, or use our vote to make our voices heard, and say that they want to stand up for what they believe in and they want to push back against what's happening. And people saw Prop 50 as a way to do that. And people down in our partners at inewsource, they found down in Chula Vista, that was a lot of the common sentiment from people down there who thought in 2024, maybe they were voting based on cultural issues or, social issues or even political issues. But now in 2025, there's been a lot of people who have seen how the vibes have shifted, if I can be a little unscientific. And that's something that certainly has changed in the past year or so, is the vibe is very different now than it was in 2024.
Well, it's really interesting data, and we really do appreciate you breaking it all down for us, Jake. Thanks so much.
Of course, thank you for having me.
And this story is part of our Public Matters initiative. You can learn more about it on our website at kpbs.org/publicmatters.